Hello. Dropping my water bottle down there. Hello. Sherry MacArthur coming to you this afternoon from hot St. Augustine, Florida. If you're watching this today live and you see that red live button up there, you are watching from the Rethunk Junk by Laura Facebook page. Oh, we got a person joining us. Hello. So I'd really love it when you pop on if you would tell me hello so I can see if comments will pop up for me. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but I really like to know that people can see me and hear me and that I'm coming through okay. So if you were with me last week, I said I would be back on the 21st, but I obviously don't know how to read my calendar, and I am back today to show you how we're going to finish up these two end tables. Last week, if you were with me, and if not, you can always watch the replays. The replays are always in the video section on the main Rethunk Junk Facebook page. And we save them, and there are so many video tutorials for you to go through to see how to do all kinds of things with retailers, with Laura. If you're missing Laura like we are, go back and watch some of her previous videos and you can get your fantastic Laura fix there. But today, we're going to finish this up. So last week, what I did was I put on the base coat, and the base coat was Wheatfield. And then today, I'm going to do this specialty coat that we're going to call it a dupe, duplicating a very popular look. So while we're waiting for a few other people to hop on, I am Sherry MacArthur. I am a retailer for Rethunk Junk by Laura Paints and Products, and I've been with them for a lot of years now. And I live in St. Augustine, Florida, and I have a booth, and the booth is inside of the Coconut Barrel, and the Coconut Barrel is inside of a mall. I've lived in this area for almost 30 years, and when I lived here, the mall that we're in now was very popular, and then as many malls are doing, it kind of died out. Well, an organization bought the mall, and they're refurbishing it, and they're turning it into a local destination for small businesses, which is wonderful. So I'm so thrilled to be a part of that. I'm a part of the mall and a part of Coconut Barrel. We just celebrated our 5-year anniversary, and it was great. We had a great crowd. So again, tell me hello when you're watching so I can see if comments will pop up. That would be really helpful to me. And then also tell me how hot it is where you are so we can all kind of commiserate together. How hot is it where you are? What's the heat index? Oh gosh, I think our heat index today is over 110. So I've just been staying inside in my cooler workshop, and I've been painting. So I see a few more people hopping on, so that's great. That means word is getting out that we're live, and so we're going to go ahead and get started. So this is such a fun finish that I did. I'd never done it before, so this past week, in between last Monday and today, I have been practicing this look because I've never done it before, and I know if I can do it, you can do it too, and I think it's going to be a look that you're going to love. It's a lot of fun. It is easy to do, and it uses some unique tools. So this one is finished, okay? So I'm just going to show you a little bit of what it looks like that finished, and then I'm going to pull the other one over, and I'm going to demonstrate for you how to complete this look. So we call this a dupe because we're duplicating a look that comes from the Pottery Barn. I'm just going to kind of whisper that. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that out loud. The Pottery Barn has a very popular look on their furniture. It's kind of rustic, wood grainy kind of look, a lighter base color of furniture, and then has the wood grainy look over it. And so this is how we can also get that look on our furniture without paying $1,000 for one end table. I just have never paid that much money for an end table for furniture. So this is how you can get that look yourself. So this is the one that I have completed, and I think you can see from there, I hope you can see what it kind of looks like up here on the top. Okay, whoop, there goes my drawers falling out. What it looks like here on the top, and I did this same look all over. I did it on the drawer fronts. Down here, I am working on, I'm making my own hardware. My hardware is not ready yet, but my idea is to put a mermaid on the bottom and 2 seahorses up here because I live in a very coastal community, and I am going to be selling these end tables, and so this is the hardware look that I'm going for. But if you're a furniture flipper, or even if you just want to redo your own furniture in your home, I think this is a very popular look and would sell very, very well and very easily. So here's what it looks like completed. Now, bear with me for just a second. I'm going to move things around a little bit, and I'm going to scoot this over here, and I'm going to bring the other piece in, and we're going to get started with the fun, okay? So this is moving out of the way over there. And then, here we go. I have this on wheels. And this is what I showed you last week. This is the piece. This is what I did. And if you missed last week's video, go back. Like I said, go back and look at it in the video section. And I just basically showed you how to get a really nice, smooth finish on your furniture. Lots of tips and tricks. So for this duplicate look, you do want to start with something that is a more neutral base coat color. This is the color wheat field. You could totally mix a little white with this and get it a little lighter if you wanted to, but this is just straight up wheat field that I'm using today. And I'm going to use some unusual tools to get this look, okay? One of the tools we're going to use is just a whisk broom. Maybe you have one of these. I got all these from Amazon. I don't have a whisk broom, but if you have one, just clean it up and you can use this. Another tool we're going to use today to get this look is, this is a deck stain brush. So when I ordered this, these were all about, it was about $30 for these 3 tools from Amazon. This does shed a lot, so you have to watch it. But when I first got it, I was afraid it was going to be a little too big for what I wanted to do, but it's not. And I really like this handle, and so you'll see how I'm going to use this. And then this is probably the most unusual tool. I don't have a dog, but maybe you do, and you know what this is. This is supposed to be a brush that removes if your dog is shedding and you brush him with this, it gets the fur off. And I thought, yeah, I'm not so sure about that tool, how that tool's going to work. But all of these tools together, I was just so amazed and tickled with how fun this look is when it's all complete and how these tools really do make the look. So we're going to be using our soft white glaze. We're going to be using antique brown glaze, and we're going to be using a little bit of some of the wheat field. So tell me, have you seen, has this come across your Facebook feed? Has this look come across your Facebook feed? Have you seen it? Have you seen anybody else demonstrating it? It just sort of has been popping up. You know, sometimes all you have to do is say something out loud, or because I've done a video, or because I put it on my own Facebook page, then you just start getting all of the information about it, right? So it's been popping up, and I've watched a few other furniture refurbishers demonstrate this look, but I've added my own twist to it because we don't want to do it exactly the same. But what I want you to see is, if you have seen somebody else recreate this look, I think our first question is, well, I love Rethunk Junk products, and can I recreate this look with Rethunk Junk products? Yes, you can, and I'm going to show you how. So first, I created a practice board. I think that's always a good tip if you are doing something that's new to you that you've never done, adding glaze, or doing something that's new to you that you've not done before. Work a practice board. So this was my practice board that I created, and by doing this practice board, what I discovered for myself was that I felt like, just for my taste, so you're going to be able to make this look however you want. And I'm going to tell you several times, if you're happy with that look, then stop right there. But for me, and I think this is really beautiful. Look at how beautiful that is. But it was just a little dark, and I wanted it a little softer. So that's what the layering that I'm going to do is going to look like this, but it's just going to be a little bit softer. So are you ready? And if you're making comments, I apologize that I'm not answering them, because I cannot see anything that's coming up, but I would like, if somebody would make a comment for me, that would be helpful so I can see how things are going. So make a comment for me and let me know that you can see and hear, and And let me know how hot it is where you are. So the first thing I'm going to do across the top, and I'm going to do the same technique all the way across this whole thing. The first thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to apply my glaze with chip brushes. Chip brushes shed a lot, so you really do want to also look very carefully. And this also is a shedder. And I noticed on my piece over here when I was looking at it this afternoon that I've got one of those bristly hairs stuck in it. And I'm just going to take some sandpaper and lightly sand it until I can get it out. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start by applying the white glaze, and I'm just going to apply it just like this. No, doesn't have to be any, there's no fussy anything, no fussy painting, no fussy application. I'm just getting it. See, there's some shedding right there. Get that out. And I'm just applying the white glaze first with my chip brush. When I did my practice board, I just did a coat of the antique brown glaze and did the technique on it, and then I did white over that, and that's why I said it was a little dark and I wanted it a little softer. So then when I moved to my furniture, I decided to blend. I decided to put my white glaze down first and then just go over it with the brown glaze because I wanted to just soften it a little bit. And this was a look that I was happy with. But you do it how you want it. You kind of know what tones you want. So I think, and I'm kind of using I'm using brown tones. I used Wheatfield as the base color. I'm using brown glaze and I'm using the white glaze, but I think this look would do great with our grays as well. And I think it would be beautiful if you did, say, true gray as the base, and you did the white and maybe the classic black glaze on top for this part would be fantastic. Okay, so I've got my glaze applied. Now we're going to take the brush. This is the stain pad brush. And I'm just going to come across with a very light hand. And I think you can kind of see, I hope you can see how that's working, how that just kind of softens and evens out that glaze. So I'm just taking this brush. And the great thing about this brush and the size of it is that it goes, especially just think if you had a big dresser or something you were doing, the size of the brush, it just goes across it really quickly. So softens that out just like that. And that's a great look too. And you might say, whoa, I'm happy with that. I'm going to stop there. But watch what happens next. Now I'm going to use the dog brush. And I'm going to take the dog brush and just with a very light hand, I'm going across the top of my surface. And don't forget to get your edges. Okay? Going across the top of that surface. And you can go across it, you can go across it as many times as you want. I do have my water finest spray bottle over here, so I will mist it if I need to keep it moving for me. But that's the great thing about glaze. See, glaze has a little more open time than paint does, just paint. So I hope you can see what that did. Let's see if I can get a little closer look for you there. That's what the dog brush did. Now, after the dog brush, I'm going to come in and I'm going to use the whisk broom. When I was doing this the first time, I thought, really, are all these things necessary? But you need to try it so you can see, because this whisk broom really does add a different dimension to it. And it does add to what the dog brush did. So I would say, yeah, it is an essential little tool to use with it. And it's so inexpensive. So can you see, I hope you can see what's happening there. All right, so that is really, really cool. So that is going to be my first layer. Now I'm going to move on to We're going to let this dry and set up just a little bit, and it doesn't take real long to dry. Another thing I'm going to mention is, you might say, because if you've watched, I think this look is similar, but it's not exactly. It's similar, but it's very different at the same time to our Restoration Hardware look. And with the Restoration Hardware look, people like to use our washes. So could you do this with a wash? Well, yeah, I think you could do it with a wash, but because I'm going to do it all over the whole piece, and my glaze isn't as runny as a wash, the glaze has has more depth of color to it, and we want that. So that's why I think that a glaze is going to be our best option with getting a look like this. Okay, our glaze is going to be the best option over a wash because you want that depth of color. You want to see all of that graining just like this. Now, after I did this look right here the last time with the whisk broom, if I wanted to soften that out a little bit, I could go back over it with this staining pad brush, but I'm not going to do that this time. I might do that at the very end, but I'm not going to do it this time. So let's do our side next. Let's do a side part next. And let me get over here and get my products that I'm going to use. Now, if I were doing this without being on camera, I'd be just sitting right in front of it, but I don't want to have my back to you, so I'm going to kind of do it at an angle. In the same way I did up here, because this top is going to dry and I'm not finished with the top yet. Not finished. I'm just getting, this is my first coat and my first layer that I'm getting on. Make sure you get this all on your base, because I'm doing the whole look on all parts of this piece of furniture. Now, when I'm all finished with this, I'll see if I can get the camera off the stand to get a more close-up shot for you. And if you can't hang with the whole video to watch all the way, then be sure to just go back and watch the replay. Okay, so I have my white. Now I'm going to apply the antique brown. I'm going to make sure I get it. And the reason I'm doing white and brown together, I said at the beginning, was because as I played with this look, I wanted it to be a little softer. And this gave me the softer look that I was looking for, that I wanted. So just get the glaze on there, just like that. Then after I have my glaze applied, I'm looking for my tools. After I have my glaze applied, I'm going to use my nice big chunky deck stain brush. That's what that's called. And I'm going to hit my sides, my bases like first. And I'm using the brush just to blend better and to smooth that glaze out, just like this. And I found also that sometimes for me when I'm doing a side like this, it's almost easier to go from the bottom up. From the bottom up. So this tool, or when I'm applying glaze, and I'm not trying to do a real specialty look like this, but when I'm applying glaze, one of the things I like to do is I do like to take a dry, soft brush and go over my glaze like this. Because I mean, that's beautiful right there, isn't it? That looks lovely right there. So you might say, well, I'm happy right there with that look. So at any point in the process, and there's a hair right there, and if that happens, you see what I did? I just wiped it off, and then I'm going to go back over it and smooth it out. So at any point in the process, if you say, whoa, I'm happy with there, that's where I'm going to stop, then you can just go ahead and stop. Okay, so that is smoothing it out with the brush. And that's just a great tip for glaze in general. Now the next step is, let me get these two tools, okay? So the next step is the dog brush. Here we go. I hope you can see what this does. And again, I have found it easier on the sides like this if I go up from the bottom. And it pulls away. What it's doing is it's pulling away some of the glaze just where the tips of this brush is hitting it. It's pulling away the glaze and it's revealing the wheat field color underneath. Now I take the brush and I just go along my base and my edges just like that, and it gives me the same look. Easy, easy. And if I have any tight spaces like you'll see on the drawers, I can just use this shorter part of the brush to get into those tight spaces. So we have that. And now I'm going to take the whisk broom. And again, it's easier for me. I have found it works better for me, and I can keep it straighter if I go from the bottom up. From the bottom up, just like that. Okay? So then, the next step, and I think the top is ready for me to go, we're going to go back to the top, because in the process, when I did it, I still wanted it to be kind of softer yet. So then, after I did this first step, my next step and my next layer, well, I want that to dry a little bit more. But my next layer is I'm just going to go over this with just white glaze. But while that's drying just a little bit more, let's turn around to the front and let's see how we do the drawers and the front of this little nightstand. The drawers and the front. The other thing I like is how you have all of this on the drawer. It has all of these details. Now, if you looked at, there we go. Here comes some comments are coming up. Yes, Anne, both of these are glazes. Thank you, Nancy. Yes, I am using our, and if you asked these questions a while ago, I apologize because the comments are just coming up. I'm using the soft white glaze, and I am using our antique brown glaze interchangeably. We also have a tintable glaze, so if you really wanted to customize this look, you could make it. You could do this with any colors you wanted to, and you could use our tintable glaze and tint it. But I want to show you how I do the front, because the front of the drawer has all of this detail to it. The front of the dresser does. And if you look at the dressers that have this Sausalito look on Pottery Barn, they're all pretty flat. And they just have little round knobs. They're real basic. They don't have a lot of ornate details to them. So if I get something like this, well, how am I going to work that? Well, you're going to do it just like this. I'm going to go the same way. And this really works really easy. I'm going to do the same thing I did on the top and on the side. I'm just going to take my white glaze. And you can see I'm just getting it on there. And I'm getting it in there. There's no what I call fussy painting or fussy application. And this is really kind of freeing and therapeutic, because as I'm applying it, I am not worrying about brush strokes and all that sort of thing, right? Yes, and yes, oyster is a beautiful color, and oyster would be a beautiful base color for this look too. So I used the wheat field as my base, because I'm thinking I wanted to try it with, a neutral, but this would work really well with oyster as your base, and then do this same look over top of it would be, I think it would be beautiful. So I hope as I'm demonstrating this and I'm showing you what I'm doing, that then you'll just get brave and you'll say, well, I love the technique, and that's what's so wonderful about Rethunk Junk products, is that any specialty technique that you see coming across your news feed, or that you see somebody else doing, of course they're going to say, oh, well, this is the kind of paint I use, and they're going to want to try to sell you their paint product. But any specialty techniques you see, you can do those with Rethunk Junk paint as well. So I've got the white glaze on there. Now I'm going to go over it with the antique brown, and I'm just mixing it right in because it just softens it, and that's what I wanted. And I told you that from the beginning. That's what I did on the top here, because I just wanted it to soften the look just a bit. For me, the straight antique brown glaze was just a little too dark, and just the straight white was a little too light. But what I'm doing here all total is, and this is how we get these specialty looks, it's all about layering. When you use these specialty looks and you're using different colors, it's just all about layering. And when we layer, we go from the back up. So we started with our base color. That was our first layer. My second layer on this look is this blend of, my second layer is the blend of the brown, antique brown, and the soft white glaze together, putting one over the other while they're both still workable. Okay, just like that. Not anything fussy or fancy about it. Now, I'm going to take my big brush and I'm going to smooth that out. What I love about this too, this look, is that, see, especially like down here in my base, I have all of these cracks and little cracks and crevices in my detail in my drawers, and the glaze kind of hung in there and cozied up to those spots, so to speak, and so it just gave it even more depth and dimension, and so easy to do. And this brush, oh my goodness, this brush. See, I'm going to have to play more with this brush because this just smooths the glaze, brings it all together, smooths it out. But if I didn't want this look with the woody grain look, then I could go back in maybe with a damp cloth rag and wipe some of this glaze back, and it would just be very easy because people can really kind of struggle with the glaze. All right, so there it is, all smoothed out. Now we go back to the brush. I'm going to come up here and do this first so I don't forget that. I'm going to come down to the bottom, and I'm going to take the brush over my base so I don't forget that. And then the great thing about this brush, thank you, Sandy, you're welcome. So the great thing about this brush is, look, it's plastic, it's very pliable. So when I have raised areas like this, this little brush is going to get right in there, and it's going to do what I want it to do. Okay, so it's not going to give me resistance. It's going to get into those tight areas. Another retailer said that when they had done this, that they suggested that for these tight kind of areas that maybe a toothbrush might be handy. And so I thought about, having a toothbrush on hand, but then when I saw this particular dog brush and how flexible everything was, I don't need that, because then it has this little part right here, and that's great to get into these nooks and crannies with. Okay, so this is just, I'm loving the look of the glaze applied and then softened with the big brush. And I would be happy, if I wasn't creating this look for you, I might be happy to just stop right there. What a great way to apply the glaze. All right, so, and I can keep going back over that with this brush until I'm happy, but I'm going to stop there. And now I'm going to take the whisk broom and over it. And I'm always, when I go over this, I'm not pressing really hard. I'm just using a light hand, and I just want to get those layers and that look. Now, down here, I don't know if you can see kind of right here, where maybe it pulls, especially on the front, where it pulls a little more of the glaze away. It's not like exact, it's not perfect, it's not perfectly exact straight lines. And that's part of the look, because that lends to that wood, it lends to that wood grain kind of look. So Nancy, I got the dog brush on Amazon, And after this video, I will go back and I'll pop the links in there for where I got it. And it was 2 of them. Like I said, I bought the whisk broom, I bought the big deck brush, and I got 2 of those dog brushes on Amazon, and it was like a total of about $30 all total. Well worth it, because I am going to be using these tools a lot, over and over. So there it is on the front. And now I am going to come back to the top because I want to show you, I want to be able to show you all the way through. Okay, so back to the top. Here comes our second layer, actually our third layer. What's our first layer was plain straight up wheat field. I don't know why I want to call it whetstone. We have a candy factory here that's called that. Well, I don't know why that's in my head. So wheat field, dark glaze and white glaze, and the brushes. Now I'm just going to do straight to soften it a little more. I'm just going back over this again. And you can see it wasn't that long ago that I did it, and the glaze is set up enough now that I can go back over it. I didn't use the heat gun on it. So as long as you look at it, you don't see any wet spots, and it looks like it's all set, then go for it. Okay, so now I'm just going back over it with just the white, I'm going to soften it out with this brush. And the interesting about the thing about this brush is that you know, I didn't wash it out, I didn't wipe it off, so it is going to have some of the brown glaze is still going to be in there, but that's okay because we're mixing and mingling all these colors, right? So I use this big brush and I soften this glaze out. Now you can see here on the top with the white glaze, I've got some spots here where it's not complete coverage, and that's okay because that's the look we're going for and that's what we want. I take my dog brush with a very light hand, I go back and forth, and what it does is it's just revealing all of those color layers underneath. Just like that. And then I come back with this brush and I go back over it. Now when this is dry, when this is all dry, it will create a sort of a textured feeling, and it will look even more authentically wood grained for you. It has a really cool finish and look to it. So we want to get the whole thing done here, show you how easy it is to do. So while that top is drying and those sides are drying and the front is drying, I'm going to do this side real quick and show you again how easy it is. So my base coat wheat field, my first color layer combination is white glaze, just applied just like this. No fussy application needed, just get it on. Just like that. The antique brown that I'm going to blend right in there with it. Just like that. And this was just a color choice. You don't have to do this. You can just do just the brown. But this was a color choice that I made because I played with it and I just liked it better. It was softer for me, for my purposes. Take my big brush. I like to get my bases first so I don't forget those. I like to go from the bottom on the sides. I like to go from the bottom up. It's just kind of easier for me. From the bottom up, especially when I'm doing it at an angle like this. From the bottom up. Dog brush. So look how fast I'm doing this. Once you do it a couple of times, you just whip right through it. And at any point when you do this, let's say it dries, and you're like, well, I'm not real crazy about that. I want a little bit more of this here or a little bit more of that there. Just go back over it and add to it. Then the whisk from the bottom up. Oop, I think I forgot to do these with my brush. From the bottom up. And there we go. I hope you're able to see. I said when I'm all done here, I'm going to try to take this camera off and get a close-up for you so you can see how that looks. Right? So all my colors are just blending together. They're just, the layers are just all coming together. And every time I use this brush and go over these colors, it pulls back some of that top layer and reveals what's underneath. So we're building that color all up and those layers all up, okay? So let's see, let me turn it around and check my sides. We're almost done. We have one more layer to go. So thank you, Kathy. It really is. Kathy, you're gonna love this finish. Play with it, you are going to love it. Because it just, if you look back at the pictures from last week, I mean, this is just changing the whole look of that wheat field base. It really is. So this is going to dry pretty quick, but I really want to get back up on top here and show you what that's going to look like. But so I'm just going to hit it just for a second here with my handy dandy hand fan to dry it, because the final coat is my special touch, so you don't want to miss that. So now let's go. This side is dry, and this is going over my, and you can go, when you're doing on the side like this, it's easier. I've said before, it's easier to go side to side. I showed you that last week, but I ultimately am going to go up and down. But just to apply the glaze, you can totally go side to side. For applying the glaze, just go side to side. Because what are we going to do? After we get the glaze on there, we're taking the brush and we're smoothing it out. So, just like that. So again, if you get to this coat with the white, when you apply the white glaze, and you say, well, you know, I like that, then stop there. But I think my final coat, where I add my specialty touch, is where it really all comes together and the full magic happens. So stick around to see that. It's coming right up. Got that smoothed out. Take my brush, go through my paint. I want to go from the bottom up. I don't know why it's easier from the bottom up. Just when I try to go from the top down, I can't quite get how I want it. So if I'm going up my piece of furniture like this, and I'm using the brush and I find that my lines are going crooked, just go back over it and straighten them out. I think it's a little easier to get straight lines. At least it has been for me with this look. Okay. And I have some kind of splotchy, blotchy places there, and I'm not worried about it because it's all going to come together. Then with my broom, and it separates the paint, creates the lines, creates that wood grain look, and reveals all of the color underneath. Okay? Hey, Dawn from Virginia. How hot is it in Virginia, Dawn? I'm hoping there's somebody in the country that's getting some cool weather somewhere. It is just so, and it's hot. You know, Florida's hot anyhow, so I'm used to the heat and I'm used to the humidity, but this heat is, well, I just don't remember when it's been like this kind of heat, like it's walking out into an oven. So, like I said, I'm just staying inside where it's nice and cool and painting. So I want to get this top a little more dry So bear with me here for a second because I want to see the rest of it, and I'm going to hit it with my heat gun just to get it a little dry a little bit faster. Okay, I think that will do it. So again, as you're using those brushes, you are creating even some little bit of texture on here. And as you add the other layers in the glaze, the texture kind of settles in to, or the glazes settle into that texture, and it helps create the overall look that we are going for. Now I'm going to show you, this is what pulls it all together. This is what I think pulls it all together. You don't have to do any of these. You stop when you're happy with this, but this is what pulls it together, and this is what I call my specialty part. So if you've watched my videos before, 110 in Louisiana. Oh, that's just hard. Yeah, I'm ready for just a little bit. I'm just ready for high 80s. I'll be happy with that. So for the last layer that we're going to do here, and like I said, I think this is what pulls it all together. So if you're familiar with my work and you watch, you know that I love blending. And this is one of the ways that I like to blend when I am painting furniture. So I'm going to go back to the original Wheatfield color, and I call this block blending. And maybe some of you have tried my block blending technique before. So now I'm going to be using a little bit of paint with the glaze. So I just blocked a little bit of this Wheatfield on there. I'm using the chip brush, and I'm just going in with the same brush. And then I'm going to block in a little bit of this white glaze in between where I have my Wheatfield. And then I'm going to block in a little bit of the dark brown. Okay, just like that. So you see how that looks? And again, you might think, oh, this is a lot of layers, but that's how you get the look. It's all about layering colors. Then I'm spritzing it a little bit with my Fine Mist spray bottle. Then it doesn't matter which chip brush color I take. Then I'm going to go over it, and you see how I'm pulling all those colors together. See how those colors are coming together? Now you know what's going to happen. So now I finish it with this, bringing some of the original Wheatfield color back and blending it with the other two colors that I've used all throughout the piece, which is the white glaze and the brown glaze. And this is beautiful. And you might want to say, well, I like that. I want to stop there. But you don't want to stop here because it's not really the look we're going for with this look. Right? Okay. Got that nice and blended. Okay, that's beautiful, isn't it? Got that nice and blended. Now you know what comes next. I'm going to take the brush and I'm going to smooth it out. And by smoothing it out too, the brush is taking a little bit of this paint back. Okay. Ooh, I'm probably pulling a lot over there as I push it over the edge. I told you this sheds, so I see shedding right there, and I want to try to get that off before it dries. And then I can just go back over it and smooth it right out just like that. Using a really light hand. Now I'm going to take the other tools. Let's see what happens. So this is my final blended color on top. Now I take the dog brush. This is my last one, last coat. And this, oh, I hope you can see that, what's happening there. This is just so gorgeous. So now I'm pulling those colors back, and now I'm seeing that the white, I'm seeing shades of the brown, I'm seeing shades of the wheat field, and I'm going to pull it in closer for you so you can see that. I'm going to go to my sides just like this. Okay, can you see that? How that looks? It is really beautiful, okay? So I did the brush. Now I'm going back over it, very light hand with my broom. I'm going to get back over here because that's pooling a little bit and I don't want that to dry like that. And you can go back over it as much as you want until it starts to set up. But if you don't like a spot here, like if that's too heavy, then go back over it with the brush, pull back a little more way, go back over it with your broom. Just keep playing with it until you are happy. But this, I believe, a little bit of blending right there at the end is absolutely what pulls it all together. And isn't it beautiful, Kathy? Yeah. I hope you can see it well. Like I said, I'm going to take some good pictures of this, and then I'm going to get a little bit close up. Doesn't it, Amy, look amazing? Like I said, I had so much fun with it, and I watched all these other videos, but I said I need to put in our own special Rethunk Junk special technique, so I used my block blending in there, and it just completed it. It just gave it exactly what it needed. So I'm going to go around and do that on all of the rest of it as well, but I wanted you to see how this all works. Okay? Yes, this look is beautiful. I hope I see a lot of you guys trying this. Do all the different color combinations. I'm going to see if I can get better lighting for you. I'm going to lower my camera a little bit and see if you can get a little bit closer up. And tell me if you can see that. How beautiful that finish is. I was just amazed and so happy with how it all turned out because, you know, you just never know. Like I said, this is only the second time I've created this look. Okay? So it's only the second time that I've done this, because I had to practice and try to figure it out before I got on here and showed you guys how to do it. So it's only the second time I've done it, and that's how easy it is. I'm coming back over here so I can see you a little bit and talk to you, because the rest of it needs to dry a little more, and then I'll finish the front and I'll finish the sides, and then I'll take some good pictures, stage it, take some good pictures, and show it to you. But so easy. So fun, because you're using these crazy tools to create this beautiful custom look. I can't wait to get it in my shop and see how quickly it flies off the floor and sells. Lorraine, I need to teach a class with these techniques. Yeah, I do. It'd be a little more advanced technique. I have to think through how all that would work. But fun, easy. All the Rethunk Junk products, glazes. Glaze was the magic tool for this. Wheat field. Go back and watch last week's video. You can find them all archived at the top of the page where it says videos. Just go through there. Watch last week's to see how I applied a nice smooth top coat with the wheat field. And then this week using brown glaze, white glaze, and a little more of the wheat field. 3 crazy tools to get this custom look that we're calling it a dupe, but I gave it a little extra twist that I've not seen anybody else do, so that makes ours the best. All right, so After you watch, if you're watching on a replay, feel free to ask any other questions. I will come back and peruse the page, answer the questions that I can. Watch for some better pictures on the Rethunk Junk page. Also on my Sea Breezy page, I will be posting pictures as I got to finish my hardware for this. I'm making my own hardware because I don't like to drill new holes. So I'm creating my own hardware for it. When I get all that done, I'll be posting some pictures. Hey, thanks for joining me today. This was fun. This was challenging, but it was fun, so easy. I can't wait to see other folks try it using some different colors. Like I said, I think it would be beautiful with gray. True gray is the base. Picture this. True gray is the base, and then using the soft white glaze and the classic black glaze to get the wood grain look, and then do a blend of the glaze, white glaze, black glaze, and the true gray on top for the final look. Oh, that would be spectacular. I want to see somebody do that if I don't beat you to it. So thanks for joining me. I will be back next Monday. And next Monday, it's not going to be furniture. We're going to be using gunk. Have you ever used Rethunk Gunk? It's our decoupage medium. And I have some very fun, out-of-the-box ideas of ways that I use gunk in my work. So join me next Monday at 3 o'clock. Until then, give this technique a try, and then post your pictures on the Q&A page or on the creating page, because we want to see what you do, and we want to celebrate how you take what we teach you and apply it to what you're doing. So thanks for joining me today. I'll be checking for comments and questions. Stay cool, guys. I'll see you next Monday.